Hello and welcome to my tarot channel. I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com. I'm also the author of the award-winning Fearless Tarot and Tarot in Love, Consulting the Cards and Matters of the Heart, both available from Llewellyn Books. And both take tarot and approach it from a place of personal empowerment instead of fear. And it is time for this month's Tarotscope video for October 2023. I'm going to pull 2 cards for every astrological sign, beginning with Aries, ending with Pisces. And there's these convenient little timestamps at the bottom of your screen of which you can quickly scroll to your relevant message. And if you want an even more accurate reading, you might also want to listen to the message for your astrological moon sign and rising sign as well. And so without further ado, let's go into the Tarotscope messages for every astrological sign for October 2023. So let's begin with the astrological sign of Aries. So if you're an Aries or have a lot of Aries in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best for you to place your focus for October. And we get the 7 of Cups, which is traditionally a card of dreams and illusions. It can also just indicate that in the month of October, Aries, it's going to feel like there's a fog over your path. And what this card can sometimes draw you into is your imagination, but also your projections. You can see the figure here looking at the 7 cups, and out of the 7 cups are these different objects. Some of them are wonderful, like jewels and crowns, and some of them are frightening, like dragons and snakes. And what this can symbolize is that when you can't see the path in front of you clearly, it's really easy to project what you think you're seeing, what your illusion, your hopes, your fears is trying to feed into your ear and tell you what is there. And it's not really true. Sometimes we think in worst case scenario and think it must be a dragon, it must be a snake. Or sometimes we think in the best case scenario, oh, it's going to be fine, it's a jewel or a crown. And so the 7 of Cups is really a card that says that it's time to stop projecting your own expectations or even your own viewpoint on what you don't fully know yet or don't fully understand. This card can also indicate an active imagination this next month, and if you're a creative person, this can be really helpful to you. But always with the 7 of Cups, this card asks you to put those creative impulses into action, to do something tangible with them. So don't just dream and hope and wish and wait when the 7 of Cups comes up, but instead take action. The next card for Aries is going to be advice from your inner wisdom for October. And we actually get the 3 of Swords card. And a lot of times the 3 of Swords will come up when you're releasing some sort of emotional burden. Here you can see this heart that's weighed down by these 3 heavy swords, and it's below the rain clouds. And it would float above them and rejoin the sun if not for the swords. And what the swords can represent is old trauma, old pains, things that the heart is hanging on to that's actually holding it down and holding it back. And yet the heart holds onto these swords for dear life because for some reason it thinks that swords represent power. And likewise with us, sometimes we hang on to something for longer than it's needed, or even if it's painful, because we think that that painful memory is going to give us more power. We think, I hang on to this, well then I'm going to be ready for the next time something like this happens. And so 3 of Swords is all about really examining your shadows this next month and asking yourself if there's something that needs to be healed or if there's something that needs to finally be released. You can rejoin the sun, but first you have to let go of old burdens. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Taurus. So if you're a Taurus or have a lot of Taurus in your chart, this will be your message for October 2023. And first card is going to be where it's best to place your focus this next month. And we get the 5 of Swords. Now, the 5 of Swords is a card that can sometimes feel overwhelming. It can indicate that there's just a lot on your shoulders, Taurus, for this next month. And it might even feel overwhelming. And what you're needing to do is break up that huge task that's in front of you into doable bits. So the 5 of Swords is all about organizing your thinking, organizing your time, and just starting where you are. Sometimes this card can feel like you're walking into this huge messy house and you don't even know where to begin. And what this card encourages you to do is start in the corner of the first room and just get that clear. And slowly but surely, you're kind of going to work your way through the rest of the house. For the 5 of Swords to come up for you this next month, it could just indicate that it's really easy to get overwhelmed or stressed out. And so you're just needing to remember to breathe and also to organize your time so that all can get done. The advice from your inner wisdom for this next month of October, Taurus, is the King of Wands. And he's the wise counselor of the tarot. And he can have a couple meanings. On one hand, the King of Wands can represent some trusted advice from someone who's in a leadership position, or someone who might be able to help you organize your thinking with whatever that Five of Swords energy is bringing in. The King of Wands is somebody who has proven himself a leader and has survived his own trials by fire. But when the King of Wands doesn't represent a person and instead represents an aspect of you, he represents the survivor in you. He represents that part of you that can take the heat. You can even see a little lizard by his throne, and the lizard moderates its body temperature. It doesn't allow itself to get too hot or too cold. If the lizard's too cold, it goes out in the sun. If it's too hot, it goes and sits under a rock. And so too for you, Taurus, you're going to want to really be in control of moderating your inner temperature and your reactions to maybe some of the stresses that are going on around you. The King of Wands is telling you that you absolutely will persevere and survive, but you need to approach the challenge in front of you with wisdom. You might also need to pull upon that wisdom that you've developed a long time ago in previous challenges and really apply that same person, that same attitude to your current situation. However, whenever the King of Wands comes up, it indicates that things are going to be improving, but you do need to step up and take the heat. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Gemini. So if you're a Gemini or have a lot of Gemini in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best to place your focus for October 2023. And we get the Three of Pentacles, which for me is a card of learning, education, and also refining something. You can see the craftsman here building the monastery. And there's these monks who have drawn up these plans and they're handing them to him. And if you look closely at the plans they're handing him, drawn on them is exactly what he's building. And so a lot of times the Three of Pentacles will indicate a time of drawing up a plan for your own future. It might also be a time to study a problem or a challenge or look at it in a different way. This is a great card for education, school, or also placing your focus on something that you're trying to learn or grow through. And like all successful Pentacles cards, this does promise some success in the end. However, it also requires a time investment. So I think that this is going to be a time for you, Gemini, where you're really thinking smart about the challenges that are in front of you. And you might also be learning some new tactics for how to overcome those challenges. This card can also just indicate it's time to draw up a plan and to execute it. The advice from your inner wisdom, if you're a Gemini, for October is the Strength card. And the lady on the Strength card is in a white gown, and she's taming the lion below her. The white gown symbolizes one's spirit or their higher self. And the lion represents the things in your life that feel out of control at this time, the things that you're wrestling with. And yet you can see the woman here is not wrestling at all. She's calmly smiling at the lion and gently closing its jaws shut with her bare hands. And the lion likes that discipline and self-control. He's actually licking her hand on the card. So sometimes the Strength card will come up when you're needing to rein in the thing that's been running amok in your life. And I feel for October, Gemini, it's going to be important for you to roll up your sleeves and confront that thing that does need that constant attention or self-control. And yet, if you let your higher self take the lead, you will tame the lion, and it will not any longer be able to consume you. So Strength is just telling you you're stronger than you think you are, and it's time to really confront the challenge at hand. It might also be a time to learn more about tactics in overcoming the challenge at hand. A calm mind is a powerful mind, and so both of these cards are saying that that calm is going to be your best approach to tame your own lion. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Cancer. So if you're a Cancer or have a lot of Cancer in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best to place your focus for October 2023. And we get the Four of Cups. And this card shows a figure on the card who's kind of stuck in his feelings. He's stuck in his head. He might be worrying about the past or dreading the future, but he's not being conscious of what's happening around him at this time. He's completely immersed and ruminating on the challenge. And what this can indicate for you, Cancer, is that this is a time that might feel heavy emotionally. And yet, you want to take a lesson from this card, because right in front of this figure is a hand coming out of a cloud, offering him a golden cup. And yet he can't see it. He's so in his head, he's so in that rumination spiral that he's not seeing the opportunity that's right in front of him. I feel for you, Cancer, that some of the things that might appear to be very stressful or might even be appearing to be difficult are actually your best opportunity for a personal breakthrough. And there's a gift sort of enfolded in this challenge if you can step up to it. And so the Four of Cups for you, Cancer, is telling you to be aware of what's happening and to accept the gift that's being offered. The next card is going to be advice from your inner wisdom if you're a Cancer for October. And we get the Nine of Cups reversed. So two cups cards, cups in the tarot, they have to do with feelings. And no surprise, Cancer is one of the most sensitive signs in the Zodiac. When we get two cups cards, it could just indicate that you're a little more sensitive than usual. But also with this Nine of Cups card, when it's reversed, it can indicate overindulgence in something or an excess. And when we couple that with that Four of Cups, it can indicate that you're excessively worrying or obsessing about something, and it's making you miss the gift in front of you. So I feel for you, Cancer, it's time to be more moderate, and it might also be time to switch gears out of that emotional approach or out of that ruminating spiral, and instead really look at where the opportunities are. You might also want to get out of your head, out of your heart, out of the house, and into the world, because your best opportunities are knocking. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Leo. So if you're a Leo or have a lot of Leo in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best to place your focus for October 2023. And the card we get is the Page of Wands. And whenever I see this card, I think of the word talent. The figure on this card is holding a wand in front of him, and it's a lot taller than he is. It's almost like a measuring rod, and he hasn't quite mastered it yet. He hasn't quite grown into it all the way. And yet he's optimistic and aspirational. He's looking at the top of the wand and he's like, yep, I'm growing into this. I'm getting this. And so too for you, Leo. This could be a month where you're cultivating your own talents. It could also be a time when you need to be optimistic about what's growing in your life and be patient with it. Instead of looking at how far you have to go, instead of look at how far you've come. And so the Page of Wands can indicate that this is a time to sort of flip the script on your inner narrative and also aspire for growth or higher things. Also, the Page of Wands can just indicate an optimistic time, a time of energy. There might be something exciting coming up for you this next month. And so it's important that you're taking full advantage of those opportunities and just running with them. Next, we're going to go into advice from your inner wisdom if you're a Leo for October. And we got the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles has been traditionally called the poverty card. And it has less to do with a dollar amount and more to do with one's sense of self-worth or worthiness. On a very basic level, if we are just talking about finances, the Five of Pentacles can say, don't waste money. Or you might want to be a little bit more reserved with your finances this next month. But since this is a card that's talking about your inner wisdom, I think that it has to do with something more than money. It has to do with an energy waster in your life. Something that you're putting a lot of emotional investment in, and you're not getting any return for it. So the Five of Pentacles is telling you to identify the thing in your life this next October that's really draining your energy away from that Page of Wands talent, away from your personal growth. And it's time to limit the role of that thing. It might be just something that is constantly taking more out of you than it's giving. And so it's important to flip the script right now and turn off the spigot to that thing that seems to be a waste of time, a waste of energy. And it's instead a time to really invest in what really gives you authentic value in your life. And somehow I think that's connected to your talents. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Virgo. So if you're a Virgo or have a lot of Virgo in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best to place your focus for October. And the card we get for you, Virgo, is the High Priestess herself. And the High Priestess is the personification for your inner wisdom, your intuition, and your instincts. And this is just telling you, Virgo, this next month, that you are instinctively feeling what's happening around you, and you need to trust it. The High Priestess is that infallible compass that will lead you out of a troublesome time anytime you're feeling lost. But it's an important card to get quiet with. And to hear your own inner wisdom, it might be a time to extract yourself from overly worrying about things or fussing over something that's kind of blaring in your ear, and instead get quiet. Get in touch with that inner wisdom. Maybe this is a great month to do some spirit work or to journal or to really focus on what needs healing in your life at this time. The High Priestess can also indicate that there's great depth within you, and it comes in the form of your own personal wisdom. And it's symbolized by that large ocean behind the High Priestess. So I just feel like it's time to make contact again, Virgo, with your own inner wisdom, because that's what's really going to guide you best this next month. And then the advice from your inner wisdom, or what is coming to the surface from that ocean, is going to be described by the Lovers card. So 2 major arcana cards for you, Virgo. This could be a major month where you're really focused on the big stuff. In the case of the Lovers card, it absolutely can represent relationships. But a lot of tarot readers tend to think the Lovers card just means lovey-dovey love, and it can mean that, but for me, it is a major arcana card. It's a little bit more transcendent than that. And the 3 figures on the Lovers card can represent the 3 aspects of yourself. You got the male figure who can represent your worldly self, and he's looking toward the female on the card who can represent your emotions, your feeling self. And she in turn is looking up at the angel, which can represent your higher self, your higher wisdom. And all 3 are in harmony. So for me, the Lovers is about bringing back into harmony the disparate parts of yourself. It's important that your worldly concerns are taking heed of what your feelings are telling you. And it's important as well that you're not just getting lost in the realm of emotion, but you're also taking your cues from your spirit, from your own wisdom. This is what's really going to help you transcend any challenges that are in front of you. And so I just think this is a great month for Virgo to work on their spirit. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Libra. So if you're a Libra or have a lot of Libra in your chart, this first card is where it's going to be best to place your focus for October 2023. The card we get here is the Moon, which is a card of deep instincts. The Moon pulls at us as it orbits the Earth. Its gravitational force pulls on all the tides, all the water. And likewise, the symbol of the Moon in the tarot can represent some deep unconscious emotions, feelings that are kind of running the show. But again, you're not always conscious of it. The Moon card can indicate that it's a time to really stop and listen to what's underlying the challenge. A lot of times we just look at the surface of the thing and get frustrated about that. And the Moon really tells you to delve deeper. The Moon is also a card of deeper instincts. And so it's important that you're trusting your instincts, because when you sort of like force your instincts away or shove them down, the Moon is Luna in Latin and Spanish, which is where we get our word in English, lunatic, from. So when you push your real authentic feelings down, that can start to make you feel unlucky or crazy even. And so the Moon card is really telling you to really be honest about your feelings and to express them this next month. Next, we're going to go into the advice from your inner wisdom, if you're a Libra, for October. And we got the Six of Swords, which is a card of change in the tarot. And there's a lot of change cards in the tarot. But the Six of Swords, for me, is the benevolent change card in the tarot. It can indicate movement. And if you look this card up online or in a tarot book, a lot of times it'll say moving, travel. And it can absolutely mean that. It can indicate that there's a lot of travel this next month, or there might be a move or some sort of transition. But a lot of times that Six of Swords can indicate a symbolic transformation or change, something that's moving in your life where you're almost leveling up. The figures on the Six of Swords are leaving the rough waters behind them, and they're sailing toward the smooth waters. And so this might be a time where you stop resisting the natural flow of your life right now, Libra, and instead surrender to what's happening. It might also be a time to extract yourself from a turbulent emotional situation or something that's causing distress for you, and instead to just glide toward the thing that brings calm for you. I just feel like distance is really going to help you this next month, Libra. And that watery element, so prevalent on the Moon card and the Six of Swords, is also going to be important this next month. It might be a time of emotional introspection, but also it might be a time of emotional breakthroughs. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Scorpio. So if you're a Scorpio or have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, this first card is where it's best to place your focus for October 2023. And we get the Empress card. And the Empress is one of my favorite cards in the tarot. She's the great mother goddess archetype, seated in her garden, and all is growing abundantly in its appropriate time. The Empress is the personification of Mother Nature, who's calmly whispering into your ear that everything you're seeing, everything you're experiencing right now is part of nature. It's part of life. It's part of those natural rhythms that you're really needing to tune into. This is also a card of mothers, maternal energy. Focus could be on the maternal this next month. But it's also a card of nurturing yourself and also giving yourself love. The Empress has that shield in the shape of a heart emblazoned with the symbol of Venus at her feet. And so this is a time where love is going to be your greatest shield moving forward. And so I just feel like it's a gentle approach that's going to help you this next month. And even if it's not just being gentle with other people, the Empress invites you, Scorpio, to be gentle with yourself. Next, we're going to go into advice from your inner wisdom for this next month. And we got the Two of Swords reversed. Now, upright for me, the Two of Swords is a card of being in limbo, something being suspended. And when it comes up reversed, it can indicate that you're stepping out of limbo. Something that's just felt really unsettled for quite some time is finally coming to a close. And it's, again, part of that natural rhythm, that natural cycle that the Empress is really talking about. This card tells you to make peace with that in-between part of your life and rest assured that you're going to be stepping out of it soon. It might even be leading toward the new year where you're really able to step into a whole new way of life and maybe some of this unsettled stuff finally gets ironed out. The Two of Swords reverse can also indicate that it's time to stop vacillating. So if you're weighing decisions endlessly because you're so worried about making the wrong choice, this card really tells you to make a choice. Any choice is going to be better than no choice at all this next month. So it's time to step out of limbo. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Sagittarius. So if you're a Sagittarius or have a lot of that in your chart, first card is where it's best to place your focus for October 2023. And we get the Eight of Pentacles. This is the card of work in the tarot. It could indicate that this is a time to focus on the job in front of you. It's also a card of meaningful work. This card is not the most exciting card in the tarot, and yet you can see the craftsman's studio is connected by this little winding road to the town behind him. And what that's saying is that even though it may feel like a grind this next month, Sagittarius, or there's a lot of work to do, there's a lot of tasks at hand, this is your way of affecting the community, the family, the home, the village behind you that's relying on you. This is your platform for making that better. And so the Eight of Pentacles is telling you to be consistent and to just hammer away at that thing that's in front of you through consistent effort and action. The Eight of Pentacles can also indicate that your hard work will pay off. So don't be afraid of the time investment it's going to require this next month, especially when it comes to planting the seeds of your future goals, because it's going to be well worth it in time. Next, we're going to go into advice from your inner wisdom, if you're a Sagittarius. And we got the Nine of Swords. This is sometimes a card that can indicate that there's something that's making you sad. There's some grief. There might also be a worry. And no matter how hard you're working on this thing, you might be also stressing out about it with that Nine of Swords. Sometimes this card can indicate that you really need to let yourself be vulnerable and also face your own shadows. But for me, the Nine of Swords can indicate that your mind is getting affected and overthrown by shadow thinking because you're too much in isolation. This card asks you to put some sunlight on the shadow. It's going to be the best disinfectant. It might also be a month where you're going to require a little bit more support, especially if you're overworking yourself. So don't be afraid to ask for help this next month, Sagittarius. And also just know with that Nine of Swords that this card doesn't foretell horrible things happening to you or about to happen necessarily. What it really indicates is that you're working through some difficult thoughts or feelings or emotions that are then getting projected on your current reality. And it might be distorting your view of what's really happening. So if you need that second opinion or you need that extra support, be sure to ask for it. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Capricorn. So if you're a Capricorn or have a lot of Capricorn in your chart, this first card is going to tell you where it's best to place your focus for October. And we get the Three of Cups. And on this card, you can see the three graces from Greek mythology. They're the goddesses that were also called the Charities. And it's from the Charities that we get our words in English charm, charisma, and character from. And so likewise, the best place for you to focus, Capricorn, this next month is on your gift of personal charisma. You can raise the energy around you in your personal environment by smiling more or by turning on the charm. Also, the three graces are telling you that the breakthrough that you're looking through or looking for is going to come through collaboration, working with others, and also just doing the work that you enjoy the most. This is a time to be seen when we see the Three of Cups. It indicates that you don't want to hide out or even just get so bogged down in work that you're not allowing yourself to let your hair down once in a while. I just feel like there's a time to celebrate coming up for this next month. And it just looks like a great time as well to collaborate and also to let your personal charm shine. Next, we got advice from your inner wisdom if you're a Capricorn for this next month. And we got the Wheel of Fortune, which is, overall a pretty lucky card, but it's also an unpredictable card. It could indicate that events are changing very suddenly for you, Capricorn. And if you're attaching yourself to the rim of the wheel, the outside of the wheel, which is a symbol for the outside world and the stuff you don't have any control over, well, then you're going to be doomed to rise and fall every time the wheel turns. And yet, with the Wheel of Fortune, it can indicate that you want to get to the center, the hub of the wheel, which is a symbol for your center, so that you can sort of stay in the eye of the storm this next month without getting drawn into it. I'm just kind of feeling as well when I see Wheel of Fortune with the Three of Cups that there could be some lucky chance meetings or connections that could really benefit you this next month. And so it's important that you're open to those things. However, although this card can indicate an increase in luck, it can also indicate a sudden change or that you don't want to overly rely on luck this next month. So I think that your personal charm, your charisma, and also the relationships you have with other people can help negate some of the risks that the Wheel of Fortune can present. Next, we're going to go into the astrological sign of Aquarius. So if you're an Aquarius or have a lot of Aquarius in your chart, this first card is where it's best for you to place your focus for October. And we get the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups is the sensitive archetype of the tarot. She's nurturing, caring, but she's very much in touch with her feelings. And a lot of Aquariuses get a reputation for sometimes having this uncanny ability to detach from their feelings. They just switch them off like a light switch, and they instead can really get into a cerebral mode where they're in problem solving or they're just getting the job done. And yet the Queen of Cups is calling you, Aquarius, back into the realm of your sensitivity and your emotions, your feelings. The Queen of Cups holds the most elaborately decorated chalice in the entire deck of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. And what that indicates is that she highly prizes and values feelings, because feelings give life meaning. They give you awareness. And instead of just going through life on automatic or just through the thought form, the Queen of Cups invites you to feel it. And not just the happy stuff, but the challenging things as well. And so for you this next month, Aquarius, it will really be a beneficial thing if you stop and feel it, if you let it in. You're in a strong and safe enough place to start to let those emotions flow. Next, we're going to go into the advice from your inner wisdom for Aquarius. And we get the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Now, the Knight of Pentacles has been called the young man of unfulfilled expectations. And when he's reversed, he can indicate a need to manage your expectations. It might be a time when, as well, you need to be very careful about attaching too heavy of a feeling on the appearance of something, or even on the actions of another. If the Knight of Pentacles reversed represents another person, like the Knight of Pentacles, this individual might be at a standstill or a wait. The Knight of Pentacles is seated on a horse, the only horse in the tarot that isn't moving forward. It's at a standstill. And so this could indicate that you're waiting a long time for a person to make up their mind. And yet, when the Knight of Pentacles doesn't represent a person and instead represents a situation, it's a similar sort of energy. It's something that you'd like to see progress or move forward quickly. And yet, it just isn't the season. It isn't the time right now. And so this card can sometimes represent the number one word that everybody hates to hear in a tarot reading, which is patience. And so this might be a time to be patient. It might also be a time to sit with the discomfort of something not being 100% complete at this time. And I just feel like it's okay to feel the discomfort. It's okay to feel that feeling right now instead of just barreling past it or trying to get that horse to move again. For this next month of October, Aquarius, you really want to manage your expectations. And finally, let's go into the astrological sign of Pisces. So if you're a Pisces or have a lot of Pisces in your chart, this first card is going to be where it's best to place your focus for October. And we get the Page of Pentacles reversed. Now, upright, the Page of Pentacles is the student or the scholar of the tarot. And when he comes up reversed, he can indicate that you are relearning an old lesson. You're revisiting it. This card can say it's time to finally graduate from this life lesson. If you're circling back and you're feeling like, why is this always happening to me? The Page of Pentacles can identify that by showing you a pattern. And being armed with the knowledge of that pattern will give you great power to change that pattern by changing where you're placing your focus and also changing your behavior, what you're habitually doing all the time. And so Page of Pentacles reverse just says, get the lesson, learn, make the breakthrough, because it's time to move on from this thing. And then the advice from your inner wisdom, if you're a Pisces, is actually the Ace of Pentacles. So 2 earthy pentacles cards this next month. It could indicate that this is a time to get things moving on your financial life and also in the realm of your own self-worth or worthiness. The Ace of Pentacles can represent a new opportunity, a new job, an elevation, a promotion, but it can also represent a goal. And there is this golden doorway of opportunity that's opening before you, Pisces. And you can walk through it, but only if you finally learn the old lesson, if you finally retain that wisdom. That's what's really going to help you climb the mountain in the distance on this card. So I just feel like this is a time to be very practical and grounded. 2 Pentacles cards can indicate that earth element, Pisces, which indicates that you need to make a sober-minded, grounded decision this next month. You don't want to just be lost in the illusion or the fantasy of what you want to see. You want to be very practical. And I think if you take that practical route, success is assured. And that was my astrological Tarotscope for October. I do hope you found it useful. If you did, why not share it with a friend? Also, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow, and it also supports my work. I want to thank you all for taking this time with me today, and I hope to see you all again next month for the November Tarotscope. And if you want to get a little bit more Elliot Oracle before that, I have weekly videos on my YouTube that I upload for weekly oracles, and I also have a thriving Instagram page that you can go visit at Elliot Oracle. Otherwise, I hope you all have a safe and happy month of October, and I'll see you again here soon, so take care.